Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day you're listening. I'm here wearing green because I'm with Edison Baseball coach Nick Cappuccilli. Nick, how are you?
Doing well, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got a rain day today.
Yeah.
So what does rain day look like over at Edison?
It's just panic mode, trying to figure out how to reschedule games if I need to, and trying to find ways to get some work in if we can. Today, a couple pitchers through a bullpen, but before the rain started coming, then we shut it down and gave them the rest of the day off to recover. And now it's trying to figure out if we're going to play on Friday and go from there. We had to reschedule our lower level freshman game. They were at Catella, but we'll get it in.
I had some coaches that used to like to go into the gym.
Yeah.
And they do the tennis ball thing and fight with the volleyball coach have that whole thing.
Yeah.
Always a good time. I'm excited to talk to you. You have a really interesting baseball background.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are unfamiliar with higher education in the state of Colorado, you have a Fort Collins guy and a Greeley guy talking right now. So I'm a Colorado State Ram, and Nick went to school in Greeley, University of Northern Colorado. Talk to me about your baseball background. Those are, by the way, are the Harvards and Princeton of the Rocky Mountains.
They are, yeah. It's Harvard of the Midwest, I think is what they call it.
Yeah. So big couple of academics here, just chatting baseball. Talk to me about your baseball background.
It's pretty standard stuff. Grew up playing Little League baseball and soccer and, any sport they'd let me on the team for, really. And then as I got older, just really fell in love with baseball and playing baseball. And my brother was a big baseball guy, so, kind of followed in his footsteps and continue playing baseball and soccer my whole, youth, childhood. And got into high school, again, following kind of my brother's footsteps and, really enjoyed it. Played as long as I could and as long as somebody let me on their team. Played at CV Little League, played at Edison High School, actually. And then after that, went to Northern Colorado, came back, went to Golden West, and then finished up in South Dakota at a small school in South Dakota. After the playing days were done, I went to Europe, did some coaching and a little bit of playing there. And, I kind of got into coaching right after that, and the rest is history.
Did you ever make it to an establishment called the Duke of Windsor in your Northern Colorado days?
I don't think so, and it's probably a good idea.
I'll tell you that story offline. But it's essentially I ended up there, and it was I didn't know it was a biker bar.
Okay.
And it didn't end well, but it's a story for another time. You have actually coached and done baseball activities in Russia, China, and the Dominican. Talk to me about Russia.
I've had some really good baseball experiences. When I got into coaching, I was kind of hesitant at first, to be honest. I finished up playing and didn't really want to be a coach. I thought I'd just be jealous of the players, and it's just not something I wanted to do. My brother, who was coaching at the time, he was coaching at Irvine Valley, was like, hey, you should come out and help me out with this travel ball team. I was like, okay. Went out there, and it was fun. I was like, this is pretty cool. I'll come out to another practice, and kind of kept going. And then the more I got into it, the more I realized that's what I'm supposed to do. I love coaching, and really jumped in with 2 feet, did the travel ball stuff, and started coaching high school and all that. And then I got connected with a guy who I was working with named Dan Keller. Dan was connected with this guy who was the president of Pony Baseball. And I had already gone to Europe at that time and done a little bit of coaching there. And then Dan connected me with this guy, Abe, with Pony Baseball. And he said, hey, we have to do a lot of international stuff. Dan was saying how you like doing the international stuff. He said, we're looking for somebody to go to Russia with the U.S. Embassy and the U.S. consulate in Russia. They're trying to build baseball there and, relations between U.S. and Russia. I said, okay, yeah, and I'm pretty adventurous. I'm like, okay, let's go. I don't speak a lick of Russian, but we'll figure it out. And so I went to Russia. Awesome time, man. I mean, definitely different, than I was used to. Most kids don't know anything about baseball, but they had a really good following. A lot of people would come out, the newspapers would come out, the local news. I mean, it was awesome. We stayed on this campus, kind of in the woods. It was really, really good experience. Kids from 6 to 18, 19 years old, trying baseball, some who had played for a little while, some who had zero baseball experience whatsoever. I was on the far eastern side of Russia, So it's way over there. And it was definitely different, but it was a great experience. Everybody was super friendly, super cool, really interested in what baseball was all about. And the best part, this little kid, he was probably 8 years old. We were staying on this campus, and I'm actually, I think, voted the worst basketball player ever to play the game. And they're all playing basketball in between workouts. And he goes, "Hey, pass me the ball." I pass me the ball, and I shoot it, and I make it, and I walked away. And the next day, the news comes out, and they're just watching the practice and stuff, and they interview this little kid. And the kid goes, he's actually the best basketball player I've ever seen. I've never seen him miss a shot. And so that's kind of my claim to fame. I got a 100% success rate in basketball in Russia.
Nice.
But it was a great time. It was a great time. It treated me really well. Met some incredible people. It was definitely a good experience.
And then the flip side of that is the Dominican, where it's all baseball.
Yeah, so I've taken teams to Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. I was in China for a little bit. Dominican Republic is a lot different. They play the game a little differently. They have a little different motivation and a little more, a little more intention of why they're playing, and trying to make a life for them. And that gives you a big perspective on how lucky we are here and how blessed we are to have the things that we have and the resources that we have. And the talent there is just incredible. And they dedicate their lives pretty early to baseball. And seeing some of the skill set there was fascinating, but definitely different. You go there and you see guys who are trying to get their way out and make some serious money and make it a career and a lifestyle. And then you go to Russia and they're just trying to learn about baseball, So that was a really, really good time.
Yeah, probably one of the best guys that I played with was from the Dominican, and just the story of at 4 years old, the amount of hours every day that they're out just playing. And I think they have so much more game experience because they kind of like it was here where you go out and have a pickup game like Sandlot. Those days are over. Everything's organized now, but there you can still go play a baseball game in the afternoon.
They play all the time. I mean, the fields are similar to what you'd imagine, and they just want to go and play and compete. It's a good perspective.
It's interesting in covering this league. A lot of stuff I want to get into with you about the league overall and go through that. But let's start with your squad. You guys came out of the gate 2-2, really, really tough early season schedule, which I think you have to have in this league just to get yourself ready to go in league. How you feel about the team? Let's start on the mound with pitching, and then kind of work our way through the lineup.
Okay, yeah, we've had some pretty good games. We've just finished our 5th game. We played Tesoro yesterday. We won that one, and we've had 5 competitive games. We lost a tough one to Mission Viejo, good team. Got walked off in the 7th. We lost to Capo Valley, traditionally a very good team. They threw some good arms at us, but we were competitive. I think we out-hit both teams that we lost to. I think we had less strikeouts, but good teams and good baseball. It's Orange County baseball, so it's always good playing against high-level competition, especially going into league play. On the mound, I think we're going to be okay. We have a good solid starting rotation. You've got Noah Hunter who's going to San Diego State, Shane Timmons going to Concordia. We've got Braedon Hobson, who's got a little velo. Drew Gonzalez is a strike thrower. Gavin Johnson is a lefty. We've got the arms if we can piece the puzzle together. I think our pitching wise, we're going to be okay. We're going to be competitive. Offensively, first 5 games we've looked really good. We're taking good at bats. Our strikeouts are down. Putting balls in play and putting pressure on defenses, and that's kind of all we've preached all year. We're not the type of team that's just going to sit back and bang. We got to put pressure on defenses, and we focused a lot on the tactics and the small ball stuff, and again just making guys make plays. Make guys play catch, and so far it's been good, clean games, but we've done our part with putting pressure on defenses.
It seems like with the pitching, anybody can get anybody on any given day in the league, or that's at least how it'll shake out.
Yeah.
The interesting thing will be kind of that 3-game series. I've talked about it here on with some other coaches, but are you seeing it where you're going to go with 3 starters, or do you think that 3rd game could end up being a bullpen day? And then I know there's some weekend games in between and things like that, but do you have are you thinking about going with a set rotation, or are you thinking about bullpen day on the third day. How are you viewing that?
So we're, tentatively we're having our we'll call it a 1A and 1B. They're both pretty solid starters. I mean, our three guys are all good starters, but going Tuesday, Friday, and then that Wednesday game, we're thinking more of a bullpen day. We have a starter that we were hoping to get a few innings out of, but that one will be more of a mix and match kind of a day. We've got some different pitchers who have different skill sets that I think match up well with guys to keep guys off balance. And I think that's going to be our Wednesday game. So that way, if it's a rubber match on Friday, we have, one of our, our 1A, 1B kind of guy going at him.
I love asking. I coach too, so I love asking coaches about plans. Because it's everything that can go wrong will, and then reacting to that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's always interesting to hear what the initial plan is.
That's the plan, but we'll see.
Right.
We'll talk next week.
Nothing ever goes wrong in baseball.
No. That's what's perfect.
And then depth on the bench. Talk to me about seniors, juniors, sophomores. How you got some depth on the bench? Who's coming up? What does the freshman group look like?
Yeah, we have. It's weird. We have a weird mix. We were really young last year. We knew last year would be tough. We were pretty inexperienced. I think we had 6 sophomores that this year have really upped their game already. I think that helped them out a lot having that experience last year. But on the same token, we have a lot of guys who this is their first year on varsity, so it's kind of a mix in terms of seniors versus or returners versus new guys. The depth is something that I think all teams are really going to have that a challenge with, being that you have 3 games in a week. We have the depth. It's just a matter of putting those pieces together. Our seniors have done a really good job at stepping up and being good leaders. Our juniors, like I said, 6 of them were on varsity last year already, and that's already shown to help us out quite a bit. Our freshman class this year, like you're asking, we have a really talented freshman class. I'm really excited for them. They've really embraced our culture. We got 2 new freshman coaches who've just done an outstanding job with them, but they've really embraced the culture we're trying to create. And seeing them step up has really been awesome because it's a talented group. It's definitely a talented group.
And you have a unique situation, not unique, but it's nice that you're a teacher as well, so you can probably have a better eye on what's going on in the classroom. How are they in the classroom and all that? And that can be a negative for you too, because you have the other teachers come to you and they act up.
Yeah, I mean,
I was involved in some of those situations as a player.
I'll tell you, I'm pretty strict on classroom behavior, and I tell all the teachers, hey, if anybody's less than perfect, here's my number, and you call me right away. I check their grades every day. By 9 o'clock, in the morning, I can tell you who's missing what assignment and what their grades look like, and they know if the grades aren't there, they're not playing. So especially in the fall, if they fall, I'll say, hey, you're not playing until your grades get up, and those are missed opportunities. But I really do put a emphasis on the classroom, behavior. Being a teacher, I know that teachers go through a lot and they have a lot on their plate, and I don't want our baseball players being more of a distraction or a challenge to the teachers. So they know if I get a phone call, it's gonna be a pretty bad day.
How do you handle social media? How big it's become, and I mean my general rule is just kind of before you post something, think it through. Yeah. Think about grandma.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you address it with them? Do you are there any rules in place? How do you handle it? Because it's getting to that point where it's bigger and bigger and bigger, and I just feel like I like to at least have a comment on it to let it sink in and have them thinking about it before they engage in it. Yeah,
pretty much we'd say if you don't want your parents seeing it, don't post it, and
right.
It's pretty black and white. And thankfully our guys have done a really good job, There's always slip-ups here and there, but for the most part they've done a really good job, and we haven't had many issues with that. They've done a good job at keeping it, appropriate. That I think is always going to be a challenge, especially as social media gets bigger by the day and everything. But they've done a good job. We have a good group of kids. They understand the expectation, and they understand that there's consequences for actions, and that they have something to lose. When you're playing baseball, you have something to lose. There's a lot of people who don't have something that's that important to them that they can lose. And with these guys, they know that baseball can be taken away in a heartbeat just by a simple decision. So, like I say, I've been pretty lucky that they've done a really good job with that. And we do preach, just if you don't want your parents seeing it, that's not something you should be posting, and they got to think about it, But yeah, they've done a pretty good job. Overall, done a good job.
Nice. What about in terms of the league? So it seems as though Huntington is the 800-pound gorilla. Mm-hmm. Looks like there is opportunity for somebody to make 1 + 1 = 11, mm-hmm. and get the chemistry going with the pitching and the defense, and I think it's going to be super competitive every day. How are you? What are you trying to get done before league? What are you trying to establish as before you get rolling? Are there things you have in mind or benchmarks you want to hit before you get there?
That was stuff that we tried to do in the fall, making sure that guys get certain numbers of at bats or innings on the mound, or different ways to approach hitters if you're pitching on the mound, or offensively what you're looking for approach wise, and really battling the 2-strike counts. We put a lot of emphasis on winning the 1-1 count if you're a pitcher, and offensively if you're a hitter, win the 1-1 count. But in terms of getting guys ready, we do a lot of that in the fall and the winter, and now it's time we're like, okay, you've done it, now let's go execute it. So these preseason games are things that we want to implement what we've worked on and see it in a competitive environment, and something that we want to see if it's worked the way that we've planned, and that'll help us kind of tweak things as we need to get into league. It's a battle, man, and league's gonna be a grind. It's tough. It's better than any other year. I think this year the league through and through, everybody top to bottom, is gonna be a battle.
It's interesting getting older. I went out to a game yesterday and just watching the kids throw, and first pitch I heard it.
Yeah.
Didn't really see it, and it's just amazing how hard they're throwing, and it's the pitching and the defense is solid.
It is.
It's going to be really fun to watch. Talk to me about two things: facilities and fundraising. And fundraising, I'll get into. I announced the basketball games at CDM, and part of my shtick is that I make fun of the companies that don't sponsor the school.
Yeah.
There seems to be a little bit of an alarming trend, and it's kind of twofold. And one of the reasons that we do the show, right, is the newspapers and kind of the decline in coverage, mm-hmm. right? And I think this is a good vehicle to get it out there. And as we go on, we'll get clips and have the kids in and have those clips and things. But fundraising overall, how are you? I mean, it seems to be not as prevalent as it once was. I don't know if we're doing something wrong, or the companies aren't as engaged, or it's all moved to social media. But it seems to me that the companies need to do a better job of helping the schools with facilities. And there are some companies that do a great job. It's not a overarching statement, but it seems like it's getting harder and harder to get them to contribute. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, I think you're right. Fundraising is probably, for us at least, one of our biggest challenges. We all of our programs, here have to self-operate, and they have to do their own fundraising. That's where we get all of our funding, and it's tough. I mean, it's really tough. We have a pretty sizable operating budget, and we ask a certain number for player donations, and even if we get 100% participation and everybody pays that, we still have a large amount that we have to fundraise. So finding different ways to fundraise is always a challenge, and finding ways to get people involved is always a challenge. We still do the typical stuff where we sell banners and we sell, pages in the media guide or on the website. I don't know in terms of what's the decline, like why companies aren't as excited to donate to schools. I'm not too sure what the reasoning is for that, but that's, for us personally, just speaking candidly, that's definitely not one of our big contributors financially. We have to find ways to go outside of that and do bigger projects, get out to the community and find ways to tap into that. Whereas, we used to be able to sell some banners from Subway or, your local businesses, and you'd be okay. But that's a good question. I don't know what the reasoning is, but I do think you're right about that.
I think some of that are the most frustrating are the ones that would not exist if it weren't for the kids at the school, right? So those are the ones where it's hard when you don't see that flywheel kind of go back. But I think public shaming is the answer, and I plan to be that vehicle unless they sponsor the podcast, and then I'll say anything they want.
Well, I think I think you're right, and I also wonder if they're just looking at it more from a business standpoint, where they're like, hey, I can buy this banner, but how much foot traffic is that really bringing me? I don't know. Maybe it's more of a not worth it to them type of thing. Just kind of speaking outwardly, but I'm not sure if they're just thinking it's not really worth it to them or what the reasoning is. But we have to go around some different avenues to try and bring in the money that we need to stay afloat. And it's not selling banners, that's for sure.
How are the facilities overall? I mean, are you happy with? I mean, when I get asked that question, there's always 10 things that you want, but every time I've been over there, it seems like it's the field's really nice, and you guys have a nice facility. But I mean, are you happy with it? Yeah,
I don't know when the last time you were out there was, but if you go out there now, this is the best that I've ever seen it. We redid the grass, got all new grass, did some turf projects recently. We got new windscreens all over the place, signage everywhere. We got, if you walk up along the JV fence line, you'll see former professional players that came through Edison, guys that made it to the big leagues and minor leagues. We have we get our field laser leveled every year, so we try and make it a very clean, sharp look and a playable surface. But it looks incredible right now. This is the first year I've done it, and I got a lot of tips and help from Benji at Huntington. That guy's just been nothing but awesome for me. He's been super helpful and been in my corner to help me upgrade the facilities. And a lot of it, like you were talking about fundraising, just comes back to fundraising. If we bring in the money, I can do something with it, and I have visions and I have goals and I have things that I'd like to get done. Definitely takes time and money and commitment, and it has. Each year we've done a big project, but right now the facilities look better than I've ever seen them. The windscreens, we just redid the whole thing, outfield, batting cage, along the foul lines, JV field, just looks incredible, and I'm hoping to keep building on that. And we want the players to be proud of where they're practicing. Take pride in your practice. And when you show up to the yard every day, and you're at a field like that, it makes you happy. You're like, all right, I get to work here today. And that's what you want, because that's where all the work is put in is at practice. So we want guys showing up to the field proud of where they're at, and I want people at other schools, when they show up, to realize, okay, these guys, they do it right. We work hard for the fundraising that we do, and we'll put the money out there and put it back to the kids and make sure that they have a great facility to play at. And again, it's just a matter of taking pride in your facility, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. I mean, a lot of maintenance, and we want people to be impressed with our facilities, and I want the boys to be proud of their facility. And I'm really strict on field jobs and making sure that it's done right. And I'm always asking questions. I mean, I'm always calling different guys about, hey, how do you do this and how do you do that, and how do you keep your edges sharp, or whatever it may be. And the coaches are awesome, man. Like, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody has to do their own field maintenance for the most part. And, guys understand the time that it takes to do that. So having these other coaches giving me their insight, from their years of experience, and allowing me to apply that and kind of beg, borrow, and steal from there has been great. But the facilities look awesome right now. And this is probably the first time where I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. Looking around, like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
It seems to be a really good fraternity in the league. I think people sometimes have a not the right view on that, but most coaches are, when the season's over and when they're talking, super helpful across almost all sports.
Yeah, no,
there's a few, but I would say it's 99%.
Yeah.
I won't mention any names yet. But overall, it just seems like everybody understands. Like, look, it's a really cool community of coaches in high school across the board. What I've found,
really is, man. I mean, I think I can call any one of them at any time, and they'll be there for you. And going back to, we all kind of go through the same things, the same headaches, the same stress, the same struggles. And I think at the end of the day, we want each other to do well, except for when you're playing each other. I mean, I want Huntington to go to the National Classic and win it all. I just want them to lose 3 games to us, and Fountain Valley or Harbor or Marina, whoever it is. It's a good representation of our league, when these guys do well. So I think we all pull for each other. And like I said, I could call any one of them. They'll be there for us, or for me, and I think that's safe to say amongst all of us coaches. And they really do have each other's back, and they really are very available for each other. And they're all cool, man. I really, really like them. We all get along. We compete against each other and we want to beat each other, but at the end of the day, we have a lot of respect for each other. We really do. These coaches, each team in our league especially, puts a lot of devotion into their programs, and I think that's half the reason why the Sunset League is the way it is because of their leadership and the pride that they take in their facilities and their programs. So having everybody kind of pull for each other in that, and just picking each other's brains, it's been super helpful. They're great guys. They really are.
How do you view the youth landscape, especially over in Huntington? You have obviously there's a lot of great travel ball programs. Got a great youth baseball. How do you see it? Is it too much, too little, in your opinion? You're a multi-sport guy.
Yeah.
Coming up, right? So it's like, how are you looking at it and balancing it?
Oh man, how long we got? I feel like youth sports or youth baseball right now, and I'll talk on that, is probably better than it's been ever. You look at some of these 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old kids, like, man, this is pretty good baseball player. My gripe with it is I wish there were multiple sport guys. These kids are devoting themselves to one sport, and I'm not dogging that. If that's what you want to do and you love baseball and it's all you want, sure, like, be a kid and do your thing. I just wish that we had more two-sport athlete guys, and I think that's kind of a dying breed now. I think sometimes people think more is better, and you got some of these kids who are playing 80, 100 games a year, and they're going to a tournament and they're playing 5-6 games in 2 days. And I think that while the talent is getting better, the burnout is through the roof, and injuries, I think, are obviously through the roof. And where the youth talent is growing, I think some other things are lacking, and I wish that we could see a little bit more improvement there. I would love for my guys to play football in the fall and go get big and strong and go play soccer, go play basketball, be more athletic and, have another athletic skill and all that. But it's tough. It's a tough battle because with the competitiveness and the level of talent, I feel like people think if I don't devote to one sport, I'm going to fall behind. So I get the argument. I just wish more people would still push the multiple sport approach.
I think also the psychology of it, in that if you're a star in one sport, like, I think it's great to have that balance of it's kind of an anti-jerk factor, right?
Yeah.
Where if you're a star in one sport but you're a role player,
yeah, you
kind of learn to be a role player, and it turns into more of the we than the me.
Yeah.
I think that gets lost in it too. Is that it's just it teaches you to be a better teammate.
It does. I mean, if you go out and you play football in the fall, and let's say you're not playing, let's say you're not getting reps on the field, you're still learning how to work. You're still you get the leadership skills out of football. Or again, we'll just use football as an example. You get the leadership skills, and you get to work out, and you get to do different athletic movements that are just going to make you a better athlete as a whole. And being able to have that level of commitment, in one sport, while you're there, you're all in, you're 2 feet all in, and then when you shift over to baseball, now it's baseball time, and you're 2 feet all in there. And but learning those skills is vital, and each sport has its ability to teach specific skills. And I think that that, like you said, it is kind of lacking. And I think there's a lot of value in being a two-sport guy, or however many sports you want, I don't care. But there's a lot of value there that I think sometimes people are missing out on right now.
You ready for questions for Coach?
Let's go.
All right. Favorite baseball player?
Probably Mariano Rivera. Talking about a guy that just gets his job done. I mean, that's about as solid and consistent as it comes. So
there was nothing better than Inner Sandman.
It's game over at that point, dude.
It was great.
Game over.
I'm a Dodger fan, so I'm just still basking in the glow of them beating the Yankees. But I'm unfortunately married to a Yankee fan, and
there you go.
That's not pleasant at times. Favorite MLB team?
I'm kind of going through a baseball breakup right now. My favorite team was the Houston Astros, and not like starting in 2015, 16. I started liking them in like 2001, and they had Lance Berkman and Craig Biggio and Brad Lidge and all these guys, and then they sucked for like 15 years, and the next thing you know, they're good again, and I'm like an Astros fan. Everyone's calling me a bandwagon and this and that, and no, I really have liked them forever. And then they finally make the World Series, and we all know what happened there. And I'm like, I'm not cool with that. I'm not okay with that. And so I'm kind of in between teams right now.
Looking around,
looking around. I'm available.
There's plenty of room on the Dodger bandwagon. Actually, there's not. It seems like they came out of the woodwork too.
They did. I was kind of conflicted because at that time, I'm an Astros fan, and my brother was actually coaching for the Dodgers in their farm system. So I go to the World Series. I'm like, I don't know what to do here, man.
Well, you could be an Angel fan. They may even put you in the game.
They might.
I mean, they have about 9 spots. Sorry, Artie. Favorite restaurant?
In Huntington, there's a place called Riip Pizza that I'm really all about right now. They got high quality food. It's always packed. The environment's awesome. But they make good pizza, good wings, good salads. I mean, that place is really good, and it's a popular spot.
Have you, and then Sancho's Tacos is over there.
Yeah,
solid. And then Captain Jack's down the coast side a little bit.
Yep.
So I'm a big fan of that. They should sponsor us. I talk about them a lot.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Miracle, the hockey movie. It's just I'm a super patriotic guy. I'm super patriotic. So that movie always fires me up. It always will. And then just the lessons that were taught along the way, and the message that's in that movie is pretty rad. So that's a movie that'll always get me going.
Kurt Russell's great in that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Favorite vacation spot?
Man, so I've been to some pretty cool places. Like you mentioned earlier. I mean, Canada, China, Russia. The DR, Puerto Rico, all over Europe. My daughter, her mom is from Greece, and so we used to go to Greece every year. And that's pretty tough to beat, getting back there, and the food is next level, and the beaches and the weather. So I would probably have to say Greece.
Nice. Well, jump on the website for all of you folks out there. Get out there and watch Edison play. I'm excited to get out there, come out to a practice, and hopefully you'll let me hit a few.
Absolutely.
And I hope you have the appropriate medical staff on hand
We
when I
do.
try to do that. Excited to see Edison this year. Good luck, and we're gonna get some of the players on here, so we're looking forward to that. So we'll pick your brain for who your most entertaining players are.
Yeah,
But
perfect.
good luck in the Sunset League. I'm excited to see you guys, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate what you guys do. The coverage of the Sunset League that you guys do is awesome, and it's a big deal. So thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right.